Hey guys, DibtheAwesome here to give you another Monster Legends Guides, where we talk about monsters' moves, their rune sets, who to pair it up with, all that jazz. Today we're looking at Shallinar, who is part of the exclusive breeding event that's going out now. You have 2 days to get this monster. And I actually recommend if you actually do get her once, I actually recommend try to get her as much times as you can before this event ends, just to rank her up and stuff like that. Because these stats might not actually be her actual stats, because at the moment I think she is currently under the buff in the buff islands, and I'm actually kind of surprised like that the buff islands aren't monsters that you can just get or earn, or like it's not like a 72-hour event or anything like that. It just shows you all the monsters that are currently buffed. um so yeah, I feel kind of mad about that. But that'll give people more reasons to use monsters at a specific time, just for the increased chance of power or just winning, especially in team wars. I wonder if that actually affects team wars, like with the boosted stats. Does that mean that the increased chance of winning, or like I have no idea. um, but I don't know if these are actual stats, so just kind of cash in on much as Shallinar as you can, because she is a strong attacker. I was actually hoping she'd be a strong like denier or something like that, or a support, but she's not really all that much of a supportive monster. She can play. She can play support. Not like in the sense that she does AOE freeze or like any restrain. She's just more so there to make everyone weak to fire, and I'll explain that as soon as we get to that. But yeah, let's talk about her power. Her power is 3,432. Her life is 27,747, and her speed is 3,465. That's a pretty decent speed. Uh, I think it goes in it compete with things like calliech. I wonder if calliech is actually running on that same speed, but it does. That is a pretty common speed to see for those kind of monsters. Um, so Inferno Stampede deals massive fire damage to all enemies, may burn all targets. So this is basically Railbog's, Railbog's ult, except it does burning too. It actually doesn't affect. So that's a pretty stellar thing. We're gonna skip down to the second set. Flaming Tackle deals moderate special damage, may burn target. Now, as you know, I am a fan of just zero turn cooldown moves, and just like special moves in general. Not as much as bleeding, but that's the second best thing, is special damaging moves, like special damaging AoEs. That's my second best favorite thing in this game, is the special damage AoEs. I'm not gonna actually recommend you run any like any. I won't recommend this move, even though it's like special damage, because she has stuff that makes, like, I'll get to it. Burning Corruption may burn all targets, become weak to fire attacks, requires cooldown. This is what I wanted to talk about. So this is, she's kind of like, if you think about it, she is fast Tephra. Fast Tephra. She's able to do sticky lava. And I actually wonder if we're going to be seeing more of these kind of monsters. If so, I can imagine like a lot of teams just using a monster like this, like using monsters like this plus Pixelion. If you don't know what Pixelion is, Pixelion is kind of like a Final Fantasy like character, and he's able to do water and fire type moves plus magic moves too. He doesn't have any special moves as a result of that, but he does have two different kind of elemental moves to use, and that is pretty interesting. I think that he's the only monster to do that, which is a phenomenal thing. It gives him advantages over like specific monsters like nature and I think fire. Yeah, nature and fire. So yeah, this goes well with that, or just any fire monster in general. If you were to pair this up with another fire monster, it would be very effective. I recommend you do it because you might be just, this is probably the move you will run on it. So I'd say run this move. And this monster does work well with another fire monster or a Pixelion, like I said. So pair it up with one of those two options. Fire Rain deals low fire damage to all enemies, requires cooldown. I find this move laughable. It's a second group set and it only does 25 damage. Don't run this move. Flame Piercer deals very heavy fire damage. So remember before, like you said, you don't need this move. It's because this move is greatly better because it does just straight up, it's just straight up fire, and in conjunction with this just increases your damage output. Uh, Flaming Piercer is kind of this, like people have been kind of comparing her to like a Barbatos, because of this next ability, Inner Fire. Gains double damage to ally, gains 1 extra turn, requires cooldown. So yeah, this monster is kind of like Barbatos, except she doesn't have precision, which kind of hurts her too in a way, because it is a self buff. I am just assuming that she does give herself double damage. So yeah, it's really the case. And this really helps too. It's like she can single target people really well, in conjunction with like Burning Corruption. You have to set up of course you still have to set up Burning Corruption before you set up like Inner Fire, and then you can combo that with Firestorm. Deals low fire damage to all enemies, may burn all targets, requires cooldown. At that point, I think they're just all dead, because not only are they now taking super effective damage, they're not getting hit by a monster with double damage. So that's extremely painful. So yeah, you have to run this move too. So in short terms, you have to run everything in Scoop 3, and Burning Corruption, just for that combo. I mean, yeah, you totally have to do that. I mean, that's one of her best options, and it's kind of hard to just trying to find something to replace that with Flaming Tackle. I mean, this is probably the moveset everybody's gonna use on her, and all that jazz. I would like to point out that she has immunity to stun. So I think a lot of people will be using this monster just the fact that she is immune to stun. The only other monster that's in the fire category that's immune to stun is in fact Fire Lake Quinn. It is kind of a bummer that this is kind of a bummer that she is not a supporting monster. I mean, supporting fire monster. I'd like to see that. I mean, she can act like that, but she has to have, like, she can act like a support. You can totally have her like be supportive. Like in terms of another like fire monster, she can do that. I'm just saying she doesn't have like the AoE stun or gives buffs to allies or anything like that. She is pretty much like she's fire Barbatos. That's the best way I can explain it. And that's probably the only way I know how to explain it. I think I actually just got her today. Like, it was early in the morning, and I got up to do the I got up to do I just randomly woke up. I actually just got up, found out there was like a coin thing, so I collected my coin. I mean, like, I did the discount times, not a whole lot. I didn't get too far into it, but because it was like 10 minutes left. But then I found out that the event was now out, so I literally just bred a Galante with Dark Anubis, and I just straight up, I bet I got this monster just straight off the bat. It's currently hatching. It's a day and 20 hours, I believe it was. I'd be really happy if I got it. I am lacking fire monsters, and it gives me the excuse not to run 2 speed runes on my Tephra, because I was just going to run 2 speeds on my Tephra and to pair that up with Pixelion, and now I have this monster to pair it up with Pixelion. So for rune, honestly, I didn't talk about runes either. For rune sets, it totally depends on what you want to do. You can just run 2 strengths. Honestly, you just have to run 2 strengths. Then your choice of speed or life is relatively yours. I can imagine people just shoving a speed rune on it. I think she actually has the chance to like Oko things like Voltic, those annoying things because of the double damage, and then her single target fire move doesn't do any like extra effects, so it's more accurate against things like Voltic with Hardened and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess I'd recommend just 2 strengths and a speed, just to outrun the enemy. And then yeah, she can totally just be supportive to the fire monster specifically, or Pixelion. Again, I do recommend you pair her up with another fire monster or a Pixelion, just to ensure like overall damage output. And that's really it about this monster. I am happy that I got this monster. I'm just a little down. It's not a supportive monster. I'd like to see like fire support monsters sometime soon. Fire Lycan is the only one that really does supportive role. I'd like to see more than that. Just a little more creativity than just straight up attackers. I'd like to see more. There are obviously stalling monsters, but I want to see more supportive monsters. uh, I think this is a really cool monster too. Again, stock up on this monster. It's a really good monster, especially for like Team Wars, because everything in Team Wars, like usually it's usually a fire requirement. I've had a lot of wars where it's just fire, or usually light. I hate light wars. Those are pretty common. Light wars are pretty common. And fire is also a common thing to see. So you totally want this monster in Team Wars. The ability not to get stunned is just too great. And all that jazz, yeah. I guess it's the only thing that's also a really bummer is she's not like... Well, it's also like a double-edged sword too, because when you're not immune to burning, like then the other fire monsters obviously have burning, so you're gonna be torched. Unless I mean, because like it's the things that are usually defend are things like Tephra or just things that just live for a relatively long time. But yeah, this is still a good thing to have. It's good to avoid things like Mega Ostium or stuff like that. Alright, I think that's really all that really needs to be said about Shallinar. She's, again, great monster. Pick up on her. What you need to make her is, again, it says as soon as you log in and stuff like that, you need a gold field and you need a Dark Anubis. And that's all you need. If you have like Galante and Violet, I think that increases your chances and all that jazz. I'm DibtheAwesome, and I'll catch you guys later.